Hello everyone and welcome back to another movie review by EonTalk. As always, I'm your host Ian, and I'm here today with a video movie review on the new Korean mystery thriller, The Call. The Call was directed by the young director Lee Chung-hyun, who's only 30 years old. This was his feature film directorial debut, and he had previously directed a few short films prior to this. He's been getting a lot of media and public attention for how handsome he is, and when standing next to the cast members of The Call, people have been commenting that they thought he was a member of the cast as well, which I do agree with. He's definitely a good looking man and fits in very well with the cast lineup. Anyways, the cast included veteran actress Park Shin-Hye along with the more newly debuted Jong-Seo and supporting actors Sung-Ryung, Lee, Park Ho-san, Jung-Se, and Dong-Hwi. As you can see, a lot of familiar faces in The Call. The movie was originally supposed to release in March of this year, but was postponed due to the whole pandemic, and I thought it was going to release in the summertime, but eventually decided to release globally on Netflix in November. In a way, this is a good thing, as a lot more international fans get to see the film simultaneously. We've seen this with another K-film that released earlier, Time to Hunt, where it had a set in-theater release date but was delayed and then eventually released on Netflix. An upcoming film titled Space Sweepers is also taking a similar approach. I love how Korean films are becoming more and more accessible to the global audience, but then again, it is a little sad that we are losing that quote-unquote theater-going experience. There's always two sides to a coin though, I guess. As mentioned earlier, the film is a mystery thriller, and it also had elements of time travel or communication between time, and takes on a pretty generic topic in a very original way. Let's first take a look at the detailed synopsis of The Call before getting deeper into the review. Seo-yeon returns to her old family home after a long time away, and inside the house, she receives a call. The person on the other end of the line is Young-suk, a person she doesn't know. As Seo-yeon talks to Young-suk and finds traces of hints inside the house, she eventually puts the pieces together to figure out that Young-suk is a person that lived in the same house 20 years ago. As the two gets closer and closer, the two take on a very dangerous decision to change their current realities. Young-suk saves Seo-yeon's dad from dying 20 years ago, and Seo-yeon lets Young-suk know of her future. However, after finding out the terrible truth her future holds, Young-suk's psychotic tendencies brew, and Seo-yeon finds herself in great danger. Before diving into the review, I'd just like to say that I'll be giving my thoughts and opinions of the movie from here on out. Therefore, there may be minor spoilers or parts about the movie that you may not want to hear before watching yourself. I'm going to keep spoilers to a minimum, if any, but please be aware of this. Okay then, now that we got that out of the way, let's get right into the good parts about The Call. First, I must mention the acting. Park Shin-hye's acting in The Call was better in my opinion than her performance in Alive. Her acting in that zombie flick that released during the summertime wasn't bad per se, it's just that it was very different from what she usually takes on and thus didn't feel very natural. The character she plays in The Call isn't the typical role she takes on either. However, I felt that it just fit her a lot better and she felt a lot more natural in this. Who really stole the show though was Jong-Seo. She was absolutely amazing in this. Her performance by itself is a reason to watch the film. Jong-seo's expressions and her mannerism was so freaky and her acting was so believable that it almost seemed as if she really was insane. If I'm not mistaken, she got her name out with Burning in 2018, which she was great in as well, but didn't have like a huge role. However, she played a main character in The Call, and I firmly do believe this is what's really going to make her name known. Furthermore, there were a lot of familiar faces beyond the main roles. Sung-Ryung was in the K-drama The Heirs, as well as the K-movie Believer. Lee was in the movies What a Man Wants and Inside Man. Park Ho-san was incredible in the K-drama Prison Playbook. Jung-Se was in the recent drama It's Okay to Not Be Okay, and Dong-Hwi was of course in Extreme Job as well as one of the most underrated movies of last year, My First Client. All in all, a great cast lineup. Moreover, The Call had great cinematography mixed with amazing music. I love the camera angles and the camera movements the film had, and the background music added so much value to the film. It played a huge role in setting the tone of the different moments of the movie and giving suspense. And oh boy did the movie have good suspense. It also had great elements of mystery as well. It's quite upsetting that we aren't able to see this in theaters, as I definitely would have loved to have seen it on the big screen. It would have been so much more suspenseful. I guess we'll have to just deal with these in-home movie watching experiences for now, and in a way, as mentioned before, it's a good thing as we're able to enjoy these Korean films simultaneously on a global scale. And the final thing I want to say about the good part about The Call isn't necessarily about the movie itself, but I thought that the trailers of the film gave away just enough to raise interest without giving away too much. So many times we see the trailers give away too much of the story, ultimately making the movie way too predictable. However, this had a good balance. Okay, now that we took a look at the good parts about The Call, let's take a look at what I found to be the negatives of the film. With time travel or time-related productions, logical fallacy is one of the biggest things you need to keep in mind. One thing I didn't get about The Call is how can someone not remember the woman who killed her father? Or okay, maybe let's just say that this didn't happen until the future played out, then it makes sense she doesn't remember. But doesn't it also not make sense that she can't remember Young-Soo after meeting her when her family was buying the house? I mean, yes, it took place when she was young, but she sure did seem very scared of her. I would think that that would be something you'd be able to remember, even if it happened when you were a little kid. With this type of time travel ideas, there's also the argument that they are in a different dimension, and so it could make sense that she doesn't remember if they were living in different dimensions. However, this doesn't really apply to The Call, as what happens in the past literally affects the present time, or the present time of Seon. Also, similar to that of the other Netflix released K-film, Time to Hunt, The Call leaves on the cliffhanger, hinting at a possible sequel. As opposed to Time to Hunt, a sequel to The Call is something I'm actually quite interested in. It just seems like there's more interesting things that can happen with the narrative in the sequel, and I feel like there's just a lot more potential with the sequel for The Call. So this isn't really a negative. However, I wouldn't have minded if they would have gave a more definite ending either. Not saying the ending is bad per se, but it just felt too incomplete for me. And another thing about the ending is that I found it a little too predictable. The idea and the premise of the film was great, but I felt that the ending just didn't live up to the originality of what the overall movie was. All in all, The Call had great acting performances by the cast members, and I can't express enough how amazing Jong-Se's performance was. I definitely would have loved to have seen this in theaters, as it would have given even greater thrill and suspense. There are movies or K-dramas of similar topics, such as Signal, but I liked how this played it out in an original way, true to itself, and had its own type of originality. This may just be me, but whenever I see time travel or time-related films, I think of the lottery. Like, I will let the past know of the lottery winning numbers. Is that just me? What would you do if you could communicate with the past? Anyways, as for the ticket price value, I'll give The Call a ticket price value of $13. And that concludes today's review on The Call. Thank you to everyone that watched till the end, and I hope this review has given you some insight into the film. If you've seen or are planning to watch the movie, I'd love to hear your thoughts about the film, so please leave a comment or join the EonTalk Telegram group and we can discuss over there. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like more video movie reviews, and pledge on the EonTalk Patreon to really show your support in the work I do. Once again, thank you to everyone that watched till the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.